Ready? I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, September 9th, 2014 meeting of the Tilton Planning Board. And the agenda is in front of all planning board members. First case that we're hearing tonight is case 1414, site plan review proposal to add an indoor fitness center to the upper level of the facility and expand hours of operation from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. at 100 Autumn Drive in the Rural Agricultural District. The Tilton Sports Center, if you will recall. We have an application in front of us, and we'll see that. Everybody have a copy of the letter from Our Plan that's attached to it?
Part of the application?
No, it was,
Oh, no, it's not.
it was emailed this morning.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. This one here?
Does everybody have a copy of it?
It's a memorandum from the code enforcement officer, the code enforcement officer, I think it says at the top.
Here?
Dated today, I think.
Did you receive a copy of this letter?
Yes.
One.
I never received it.
Have you read it?
I did right before I got it, yes.
opening it up to the planning board for discussion. No one has any
This
comment?
particular letter?
Well, the application including this particular letter, because this letter, I think, is an addition to an application that appears not to be complete, because of other changes that have been made.
I'm just wondering about this last paragraph.
No, I understand, but I think if that's the case, I just wanna have some discussion on what this says, then we can talk about where we go from there.
Okay.
So do we accept the application as complete, or is that what going on first, or?
Well, it seems to me that there may be some issues. I think the application itself for expanded hours of operation may be complete, but I guess what we have to look at is what's actually being used in this building and
Well,
what was granted.
The application is complete,
Yes,
Yeah.
but whether we hear the case tonight
Yes.
is a question, or at least it appears to be.
it appears to be a
complete.
question to me too.
What do you think?
This application is complete based on what they requested. However, because of this letter, there appear to be other issues. And I guess before we go on with expanding the hours of operation, we need to look at what is not in compliance at the moment.
I think the members need to study the past variances that were granted. I see that them asking for an indoor fitness center is not allowed in the agricultural district, and it's never been, there's no variance, that it's never had that facility on site. Besides the fact it appears to be currently in non-compliance with the zoning ordinances. With the other uses that they're currently having on site, in spite of the fact that they were not granted by variances and not allowed in the agricultural district, so it definitely needs to be continued.
Originally, when the case came to us, the request was to open up a sports center, basically. And no mention was made of any other businesses being in there, and apparently there are at the present time. Yes, Doug?
Couple things, if the board is thinking continuation, it might make sense, again, at the discretion of the board, to give the applicant an opportunity, perhaps he would want to continue the hearing as well. He did just receive the letter this morning as well. One other thing, I guess in follow-up to Catherine's comment, there is a variance in place in addition to the 1997 variance. I believe there's another variance allowing an indoor recreation facility. And it was my personal feeling that what was applied for in this application fell under that category. I think it's somewhat irrelevant.
Fitness center
Right.
doesn't fall into the category.
Okay. Well, that's again,
Office.
that's an sort of a wait, what? No, there was a variance was granted,
For office space.
no, for an indoor recreation facility.
Right, but
Okay.
not a fitness center.
That is, in my interpretation, that falls under, if you go through the table of, the chart of permitted uses, that's the closest.
Well, there isn't, I
But
couldn't find.
that's, let's not, I don't think it's in the board's or anyone's best interest for us to get hung up on
I don't think
that
so
at the
either.
moment.
You said it's discontinued?
Because you said it was classified as an indoor
Recreation
recreation,
facility.
what else would it be besides?
Right. Right, I think an indoor
Well-
fitness center qualifies, but you know, the letter is not talking about that. The letter is talking about
Other issues
other
of
issues.
non-compliance.
And so I guess maybe I shouldn't have made my second comment. I think my first comment is the more relevant to where we are right now, and that's perhaps the board might want to give the applicant an opportunity to continue, to offer to continue, since it is, you know, sort of, the board needs, in order to continue past 65 days, which hope, you know, perhaps this won't go that far, but at some point the applicant needs to agree to the continuation anyway.
Do they need to go back to zoning for another variance?
I think what the letter suggests is that the applicant work with code enforcement officer and myself to determine exactly what does need to take place. It could be nothing, but that's not how it appears at the moment.
Any other comments before I turn it over to Mr. Pryor to see if he would like to make any comments?
I think it's reasonable with the reaction of the inspector, so to speak, to look at this and say, have we got a situation here where people are taking an unfair advantage of a situation that they created, maybe for the purpose of taking advantage of us? Do I make sense?
Yeah, you do, but let's see if before we get involved in something like that, okay? Let's give Mr. Pryor an opportunity to address the whole issue that's come up as to whether he would like a continuance or not.
Well, actually, the owner here is here, Bob Callahan. And just one point of that letter is we do not have a chiropractic on site. So that's misinformation, but we would like to request a continuance based on that until the next meeting of September 23rd.
This is what
Are you planning on having a chiropractic on site?
Not at this time.
Your sign advertising, this one?
It does not.
No.
Can we picture the sign?
He doesn't think
Design.
massage therapist.
Oh.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion to accept the request to continue?
I make a motion to accept the request to continue.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So, sorry, what date was that?
That'd be September 23rd.
Okay.
And who seconded? Okay, thank you.
They give you enough time.
What is it? We think so.
Next order of agenda, on the agenda is the planning board workshop, wetlands conservation district forestry regulations, that was Jason Stock, and an overview of the land use website. And because today is election day, are you leaving, Bob?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. I didn't want to interrupt you. Thank you. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Take care.
All set?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's continued, so.
It's continued.
Yeah, I mean, please feel free to stay. And
Comments will be accepted when it is.
at the 23rd, yeah.
I'm sorry you had to come, but
No, that's
this
okay.
was just something that came up today.
Is the letter a public document or not?
Yeah, I mean, it was addressed specifically to the chairman, but, so I guess I'll ask for permission. Is the letter, are we ready to release the letter? If you're not quite sure at this moment, I know how to get in touch with Mr. Mead and I can
Okay,
start
why don't we
getting
get
to him.
in touch with Mr. Moore?
It went over the internet.
Hmm?
I said it went over the internet.
It was only,
Email though.
it was email, so it's,
We could consider that
Alright, thanks.
public. Non-public documents don't get emailed.
we'll get a copy.
We're gonna get it to him, yeah. I just didn't want to.
All right, so it was decided that we will have those at a later date. So the next order of business is to review the August 12th, 2014 minutes. Yes, you can.
Feel better?
I was sitting over there and I realized, it. I read, oh, okay.
Does everybody have a copy of the minutes?
August 12th.
July 8th. I don't think it's August 12th. You
Yeah,
did.
you get July.
I was kidding.
Oh, thinking,
There was a meeting before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, playing with my head out. That's not a good thing.
No.
I think there's one on page 4.
I knew she'd have something.
Don't say that.
That's good, that's good, that means you're paying
Under
attention.
PB 14-13, the second paragraph, residents from traffic, there's one.
Thank
You see
you.
it?
Yep.
Where is it?
Second paragraph under the 14-13,
Yeah.
second to the last line, residents from traffic. This is one.
Oh, okay.
You can tell I do secretarial work.
It's good
Proves you can read, too.
Yes. I do.
Anything else? You do good work, Dory, I have to say that.
Thank you.
though. Yeah, it shows what's up,
Thank you very much. If I weren't so scared of you guys,
yeah.
I might not work so hard.
You'd be very.
We'll say when we sit here on the word, he's gonna highlight all the corrections.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Make a motion to accept the minutes as written?
Second.
As corrected, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Who made the motion? Sorry.
Chairman did.
Once it's done.
I wasn't sure.
All right, the first thing I'm gonna pass out, and these are pretty good, these are executive summaries for the Lakes Region Plan. I think Dara emailed it anyway, but
Yeah.
they sent hard copies, so if you would like to have one, please feel free.
Were they just emailed today, Darren?
No, you have them. You were just holding that. I saw that email on your,
This one?
yeah,
Oh.
the Lakes Region Plan right there.
Oh, okay, so go on to that website.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the first thing that we have is just from the Department of Environmental Services, it's approval for construction of an individual sewage disposal system at, where is it?
Like Caleb Hill Road,
Well, yeah, it's George Daniels doing it, but I'm looking, it doesn't, 404 Caleb Hill Road, yes.
That's near me.
All right, so there's that.
Is that a repair or new?
Well, it says approval for construction of an individual sewage disposal system. So it looks like it's either brand new or a replacement.
Is that where they built that new barn?
I don't think so. I think that one came a little while ago, and that was actually one of the people who was here, Mr. Mead, right? I think that one came through a while back, a little while. Oh wait, am I right about that? No, he's somewhere else. I don't know. It's.
He has a bad night.
I thought I remembered where he lived, but it's not there.
Near Pest House?
There you go thinking again.
That's right.
I don't know, 404, I'm trying to think of what's your number?
426, and I'm right as the hill goes up.
Okay. So it
It's
below
just
that,
before- it's
it's
just
below
above.
that.
444, yes.
It's just before Marsh Road.
Just before Upton.
Almost,
So,
Okay.
I must be up here, or am I going this way?
this is Marsh Road.
Hmm. Good luck, computers.
Pull up the tax record and show you what it looks like. You know how to do that?
On the town website? What the assessments?
That's okay, I think, you know, if it looks
I'll
like
see it
it's,
when I drive by.
you know, it's very extensive.
404.
If anybody would like to look at the plans, because they're extensive,
I would. I would.
they'll be in Dory's office, you can.
I just want to make sure nothing's in failure.
All right, while Catherine's looking at that, I'm gonna go over and read this. This is, notice of an intent to cut. I'm gonna read the letter because usually we get the form and then.
It's basically, yeah, I mean, you may not need to read the whole thing. Basically,
All
it's
right,
saying,
it's,
all right, go ahead.
Shut down tonight, pal.
Ms. Patricia Garcia has retained our forest firm to assist her with the timber sale. See, my problem with this is it doesn't tell me where it's located. It says,
We haven't.
she forwarded a letter that she received from the town regarding the Wetlands Conservation District. Did you read this letter?
Mhm.
So, did she get the letter from Joyce saying that she needed, because she was crossing the stream? All right. And she's saying that she does not think that she needs to apply for a conditional use permit. However, we have applied to the New Hampshire Department of Transportation for a temporary driveway permit that would allow access to the two log yards.
Is that the Tony Turchin property?
No,
Yeah,
West Main Street?
I believe so, it's Garcia, and I
Right.
believe that's
That's
the
Tony
one who
Turchin's
owns it,
property,
yes.
yeah, they, the brook comes around one parcel, so if they access it from the more eastern parcel,
They won't,
they can avoid the brook.
okay.
I talked to the logger.
Okay. And Joyce has let them know they don't need to do anything.
Oh, well, I did.
Next.
Why do we need to have meetings? Catherine's on everything. She's on top
Well,
of
she's a health
everything.
officer.
Yeah. No.
You're gonna put it in the garage.
she's paid well for it too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's a long list.
I saw the diamonds hanging off when she came.
All right, this is approval for an operation, and this is Mike Gagney. Thought they were getting a redesigned septic. I thought we'd already seen this.
Yeah, it may have been the application we saw, and that's the approval.
No, I thought it was the approval we saw too. This is the approval, you know why? This is Ken Partridge's approval. That's why, that's the person that's doing it. All right, this is a approval of the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation for a driveway permit for Greg DeBolder, who lives right up School Street. He abuts the loggers. If you are driving up School Street, there's a big gray house on the side that has an enclosed area over to the right of it. And it authorizes a paved access to be used as a single family. He had his road repaved. I know, I live on the road. I watched them repaving it.
Call that house.
Oh, up here?
Yeah. And this one is another one like this. It's for Steve Russell at 141 Clark Road. Same thing. We paved the drive. This is DOT to drive. Okay, these are just duplications of the same thing. And this is Samberton Road, Rudick. I don't know where they live, but it's 272 Sanborn Road.
132.
No, it is 132, I know, but I'm not sure where the house is. It's 272 is the number, but I don't know. It's a temporary logging, it must,
Oh, that's,
Joanna Oliver.
Joanna, yep.
That's why I didn't know when
It's across from
I
the
didn't know
intersection of
her new
Lancaster.
name. I know exactly where it is.
I didn't know if the others did.
You know where it is? You know where Lancasterville comes onto Samberton Road? Where Joanna Oliver lived, has,
That's the house on the left,
Yeah.
just before you come to the intersection headed
Yeah.
into Sandwich. Big white. Yeah, it's white and long. She's added on to it.
yeah. And this is, again, paving, the permit for paving on Clark Road. And that's it.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did we approve the people that are putting the floral shop in on that street? Paris?
Single
I
bowl
can't
cake.
remember.
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
Most of the questions are about parking.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, that concludes the business, but I would like to, for us to have a meeting. I'd like us to go into a non-public session, but before we do that, let's just take a recess for a few minutes so that you can shut off the cameras.
Or after the motion is made, either way, whichever you
All right.
prefer.
Well, let me make a motion to go into it, then I think we'll do that. I'd like to make a motion to go into a non-public session, 91-A 2, 93(1)A:3, a non-public session to discuss matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself. Okay, so,
Second.
all in favor?
Well, it's a roll call vote. So it's, everybody has to individually, either yay or nay.
Yay.
Yay.
Yes.
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 That's the question.
We're going into a non-public session.
What is a non-public session?
It's closed, it's closed to the public. It's only this body. All right. So before we do, so we can turn off the cameras, let's recess for a few minutes, okay?
Now, did you recognize Bob as a full member?
Opposed? And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do we want to have a little bit of a discussion of how to move forward to bring this property into compliance? I think the planning board needs to have a discussion on,
We can, but I think that you've gone in to talk to Al and Gary already, right?
But we have an application in front of us, so the question is.
We've continued that though, right?
Let me finish my thought,
Okay.
please. That's been continued, yes. And that's what, for 2 weeks out?
Yep.
23rd.
Okay, so sometime in 2 weeks, that's gonna come back to us. So the question is, I think there's things that's taking place there that are in non-compliance. I don't know how the rest of the planning board feels. The code enforcement officer gets his direction from the planning board. Some of this is, you know, office space. What does that mean? What's the history of the planning board's decision? How do we look at office space? All those questions come into play. So in 2 weeks, I don't want to be sitting here being expected to make a decision on this when it's still in non-compliance and we haven't given any direction to the code enforcement officer how we feel about what is office space. So variances that are on this property need to be looked at.
And those need to be addressed by the zoning board.
No,
Or a
the planning board needs to look at those and see how they interpret into our code, into our planning. So you look at the, I think, is there 3 variances that have been granted on that or just 2?
I think it's 2 use variances and 1 dimensional variance, so
Okay,
really 2
so
that
there's-
are. of-
there's 3.
Yeah.
There's 3 variances. So the planning board members need to look at those to determine what is allowed on that building. It's in the agricultural zone. And the only thing that is allowed there with a P is farming. There's some that are by special exception,
This is variance.
So we could put.
unless there's a variance, so
we could
that's
put a-
exactly right.
We could
So
put, we could put a kennel in there, we could put,
anything that has to do with
there's a
animal
couple, there's a couple
husbandry,
things, and there's a
green-
couple things that you could do with special.
greenhouses.
There's no, I don't think greenhouses was listed,
Yeah.
but there's some
Not
other.
much.
So my point is, in order for us to determine what is allowed there, one must study the variances. And I don't think we can go forward in
And there's-
approving anything on this property until we understand what is allowed.
There's one in 1997, 2006, and
See, if you go down rural agricultural, you get lots of S's. Farmer roadside stand is permitted.
2,000 square foot roadside stand.
Here we go. Agricultural, horticultural, livestock, forestry, stables, commercial greenhouses, warehouses, for wholesale and retail sales. But interestingly enough, they can have a home business or a home occupation.
I have a question about the
Yeah.
agricultural zone. I'll look it up in more detail, but I thought that was really quite broad. That was my impression.
Yeah, but that's one of my big problems with our agricultural. We don't have proper zoning for
I think that's
ordinances.
pretty common though. The
Why can't we
agricultural
change it?
zone, right?
We can,
There,
it's something you were
I mean,
going to
compared to
say.
other towns, sorry, man, address her. Compared to other towns, I would say it is a little bit surprising how little, how narrow what's permitted in Tilton in the agriculture. Where most towns kind of treat it as a lot of the other uses that are allowed in other zones. Sure, they're fine here in agriculture too. You know, wide open space, plenty of room, but, yeah,
You know, you look at this and, I mean, we're kind of getting off topic a little bit, but you're looking at this agriculture, there's not much definition of it in there. There's not many zoning articles in here that address it. It's here in the chart of permitted uses. So somebody comes in here and wants to have, like Heritage Farm over in Sanderton.
bread
Well-
and breakfast type thing.
Well, they, you know, they have a restaurant, they have a sat palace, they have corn maze, and they invite people there. It's more like it's not quite agriculture, but it is. It's based on agriculture. So what does the town of Tilton do with somebody that comes in like that?
Like
we
when
had nothing
Charming
that
Fair or
defines it.
something like that came in.
But nevertheless, to get back on topic, my point is that we've got some studying to do to figure out what is currently allowed there, and, you know, what do they still need more variances for before that 2 weeks?
So do we need a
Deadline.
special meeting?
I don't know. We definitely,
Well,
all the zoning ordinances that, zoning variances that have been granted on the property, we should be looking at studying, I think.
Can
And
you
the
get
planning
get those
board-
to us?
yeah.
the planning board decisions that have been made, we need to look at, so that, and then look at what is there currently, and what is allowed and what is not, because the code enforcement officer, again, is gonna need direction for us, okay? The, I don't know, what I do with my sign, you know, whether the holistic, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Brave Whole Soul Holistic is something that we want them to come in for a site plan update or not. Mike Marsh Insurance, that's probably in the office definition of general stuff, but you see what I'm saying? But it's the planning board that needs to give the code enforcement officer the direction of, all right, that's not allowed.
I don't understand why we can't change it to district zone. Is that not under us?
I mean,
The ordinances
there's
can
a
only
certain
be
amount,
changed
the
by the
code
legislative
enforcement
body.
officer, you know, can certainly on his own, without the planning board's assistance, look at the variances, at the approvals that have been granted, look at the zoning ordinance, and make a call as to whether what's going on there is permitted or not. And that role of his falls in line with what we discussed with Eric
But
earlier
that's not what
today.
we've ever done in the past. He's always taken the direction of the planning board, especially when it's a gray area like this, where it's such a broad definition of office.
Okay.
I mean, the sign
Has
ordinance
he
is
been
just
looking for
one thing.
definition? I mean, has he been looking for that?
I'm sorry, I may have an emergency here, my phone, I'll be right back.
No, I can hear you close.
Hi,
The,
Hello? Hi,
But yeah, where there's
How are
such
you?
a broad definition of office,
what's up?
you know, I'd hate for the code enforcement officer to make a decision that's different from the planning boards, and have them go to any business and say, you have to stop doing this. Where the planning board looks at everything and makes a decision, well,
You
in the
did?
past, we haven't, you know, like we bring Tanger back.
We have.
You know, we don't make, you know,
it up?
Banana Republic changes to, I don't know, George Marsh or some other clothing store, we don't make them come in because it's the same business. So there's an insurance company in there, there's this in there, you know, what do we define as in that general office? And what kind of office would we want to have them come in so we can
Well, I
look
think
at
we
it?
ought to look more at it the way we look at Riverfront. The
Jim
buildings down
Croce's,
there.
right.
Yeah, as opposed to, I mean, there's a difference in a mall and a building with office space. So I think what would apply there is like what applies to Jim Cropsey.
Well, similarly, but if
Yeah.
Jim Cropsey, if the lab wanted to go into his building, that would be allowed. But would
Well,
the
I'm not-
planning board want to look at that
Of
before
course.
they allow it because they're dealing with chemicals?
We had a drug, you had
So-
a doctor in there. But I'm just saying, yeah, the planning board would want to look at it, but you're talking about an office building that,
But
you
it's-
know,
Yeah,
I know
but see,
that in
what
the-
they have is not an office building. They have a facility that's been so many things. Plus his
but there's
office
like
space.
4 floors of
It's
office.
two,
It's been so many things.
it's a U, if you,
Hey, what's that?
Yes, thank you.
It's a- it's
It was
a-
not an emergency. It was a really high grade on a
it's
test.
it's a U-shaped building, if you will. If you're looking at the building from the parking lot, the right side is what we call the box, it's a metal box, and that is where the indoor sports and what we came tonight for, it takes place, that is on that side. And then there was a building that I think at one point was originally part of the barn, because it has a metal door that is like a barn door. We call it the lobby, and then that connects to the office space. And there's a basement, and then there's, on 2 floors, there is, I think, about 12 to 18 rooms, if you will. I don't know how to this, they're all different sizes. And then there's technically, I guess, depending on how you're looking at the road, the 3rd floor, the top floor is unfinished space. That could be office space at one point, but
It
it's
is a
never
good
been.
building.
It's never, that building is, if you take all 3 levels, it's about, I think it's about 18,000 square feet.
Are there offices in the basement?
No, it's, the owner stores his jet skis in there. You know, That's where, for everything, all the phone wiring, and like the cable comes in there, and for the phone, there's 5 miles of category 5 cable in there for all the different phone extensions and for hard wiring. Because it's such a big area, you can't really do Wi-Fi very well. So that building is about 12,000 square feet. Oh wait, 22,000 square feet, because it's, the whole, everything there is about 52,000 square feet. There's 30,000 square feet of space on the other side, on the sports side, and the office side has about 3. It is, actually,
Everybody's been in it, right? Is there?
I haven't been,
I haven't been,
Waiting
This
for
is the-
Adult
I
Soccer.
haven't been forever.
I haven't been in since it was ceramic
This is
radiant
this is the,
I just saw the board.
this is the metal box here, so just to show you, I forgot I had this. This is the big part here. This is 240 feet long, 80 feet at its widest spot. 80 feet wide here. And then this is all office space, but there's this, what is there here, 11, 12 spaces here. And there's another level on top of that, but like where it says 103, 104, 105, that's upstairs, that's all one space. There's a space, there's like an odd shaped room that goes in front here. It's kind of, it's a unique.
Who lives in that house, Eric?
Yeah.
This house?
Yeah.
That's the office building.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
This is, if you're looking at it from the parking lot, right now, there's the old man of the mountain is right there.
Yeah.
And then this is the office space, and then this is the box, this part here.
All right.
There's a house behind us that is the descendants of the original owner. Doesn't
Where
care.
does that man live who was here tonight?
I don't even know who that was.
Oh,
Plant?
Mead.
Oh, he's in a butter.
He's in a butter, yeah.
He owns the land that was logged this across the street from us.
Okay.
Because we live two butters, we have Fly Shacker and we have, what's his name?
Thomas Mead, I believe. Yes,
Probably.
yes, Thomas Mead.
We gotta come up with something so he knows what he can put in there and what he can't.
It just says Mead Family Trust, so.
Well, it's like the fitness center, they're talking about putting it in there now. In my opinion, it wasn't granted by variance. And the request for the indoor sports field is not a fitness center. But we don't have any definition for it. And we don't have it in our chart of permitted uses.
See, I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
It says, the variance, it was, the actual line on the table, the chart of permitted uses says,
Recreation.
indoor recreation facility. To me, if you go down every item on that entire 5 pages of that list, there's no entry that more closely matches an indoor fitness center than that line.
But that's for the chart of permitted uses,
Yeah.
that shows what's, and that's not allowed there.
No, it is. Right, but he got the variance for
Now, you
it.
know you got a variance for indoor sports field.
No, I think it's for actual it matches that line, I do believe. It says
Specifically?
indoor recreation.
But I still
facility.
don't agree that that's a fitness center.
But if
Because
someone
when he came-
goes and looks to say,
That's the
okay,
man's
what should I apply for? I'm looking at the chart of permitted uses.
So
I'm
there's
going
one
right down the list.
example
This
of
is
what
the
we
one
need to
that most
correct.
closely matches indoor fitness center. I would say that it's indoor recreation facility.
So this is why we
Closely
need to study, so that. the planning
Recreation,
board can-
fitness, to me, that's a semantics game, it's not a difference in definition.
Yes, it is.
It's- I don't
But
think
not
so.
currently what we
I
have,
don't agree with that.
but of course it is. Do you think, what's Planet Fitness?
Don't.
Is Planet
Just was
Fitness
gonna say
indoor
something.
sports field?
What's-
And this is not a
It's indoor
discussion for your property
recreation.
specifically.
No, but
And fitness.
just to help with you,
But
Catherine.
do you wanna lump that all together?
I
Because
wouldn't
how
have a
far do you
problem
let
with it.
that carry?
Catherine.
Because there's a big difference between indoor sports fields and Planet Fitness.
But
First gonna speak.
that wasn't, yeah.
Since just for clarification, I was just about to say, don't compare what that fitness center is to be to Planet Fitness, because it's gonna be nothing like a Planet
I'm not,
Fitness.
that's what I'm saying,
No,
I'm not
no.
talking about
No, no,
your
I'm just
field in
saying-
particular, I'm
just-
talking about what's lacking
What
in
we
this.
have, without letting.
And we have a narrow window to correct this right now. These ordinance changes are sometime in November, I think, the deadline, not February, like the regular town ordinances.
We gotta squeeze a meeting in.
Well, I'm just saying, that there's,
No.
it's like the agricultural section, you know, it's only in the chart of permitted uses, what does that mean?
The, but just not to give too much information, but what we have planned there is gonna be like nothing that's in the area in terms of a fitness center. But we-
Yeah, but that's yet to be
No.
determined, I'm talking to John.
I saw the tire.
For this purpose, we have to use what we've got, I
Yeah.
agree.
And we have to know what variances have been given, so if you would make sure that all of us on the planning board have those 3 variances that have been granted.
They're right here,
Okay.
they're always here, yeah.
Can they be emailed?
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking you to do, is email.
This one is the one was a copy. I don't know if I have the other one.
So we have to
I,
say.
you know, I think the best thing I can do for the town and for the applicant is to work closely with he and Al to move things along as far as possible in the next 2 weeks. That will, unless directed otherwise, that will remain my main focus. Secondary and almost equally important will be keeping board members apprised of what's going on, but it's not as important to me as, in my mind, as carrying this work forward quickly.
I think it's very important for us to have those variances.
They're publicly
Because-
available though, that's what I'm saying,
because-
it's fine, you guys can come look at them tonight if you want. And I'll scan them and email them, you know, so I'm certainly happy to do that.
But your decision in 2 weeks is gonna hinge on them.
Bring the jammies in a couple of months, you're gonna need them. We'll be here for.
No, I just.
I mean, if the code enforcement officer were to,
If you just
deliver a
tell us
notice.
the dates of, all I need from you is the dates when those decisions were made.
okay,
And then I can look it up and, I mean, and so can everybody else.
Well, this one's not online.
Probably
Can I see? Should we just make a
Yeah,
copy?
probably.
You wanna make a copy of
I'll
that?
just take it up real quick, maybe.
We'll just make copies.
Yeah.
I mean, if the code
Big
enforcement
five right
officer
now.
were to issue a letter saying, all issues are clear, then the planning board wouldn't need to do anything at its next meeting other than,
But that's another
Address the
decision of the code
application.
enforcement officer.
of course it is.
No, it isn't, that's a decision of the planning board.
No,
It's our decision what we site plan, not the code
wait
enforcement
a minute,
officers.
okay, that's not what I said. I'm saying if the
If
code
he
enforcement
determines
officer
that
were to.
those are all okay, and the planning board says, no, one of them isn't, who's right?
The person
The
who
planning
had
board wants to site
the,
plan it.
okay, let's think about this. The body with the authority to determine whether someone's compliant or not is the code enforcement officer, not the planning board. So if the code enforcement officer.
Wait a minute, back up. The planning board site plans,
Okay,
these businesses haven't been site planned. The planning board decides they want to
so the
site plan.
code enforcement officer, if he sees a business in existence that should have been site planned and was not, he makes a decision that that's non-compliant, and that's his decision. So,
He made,
right.
the code enforcement officer makes a decision that all of these are compliant. And the planning board wants to site plan Brave Soul Holistic. Are you saying the planning board doesn't have a right to?
the code enforcement officer says that Brave Soul Holistic is existing legally, you're saying, okay? Right? You're saying that the code enforcement officer rules that this is in existence and it's legal. Then, yes, I would say the planning board does not cannot at that point say you need to come in for site plan for this. If it's the code enforcement officer who makes the decision what.
Is site planned and what isn't? I don't think
What
so.
is,
Yes.
what is in compliance and
not.
what isn't?
Yeah, and because if the planning board felt that he was incorrect, the planning board could initiate an appeal to his administrative decision to the zoning board.
The code enforcement officer the enforcement authority in the town for zoning ordinances lies with the selectmen. The selectmen hire the code enforcement officer to do that job for us.
Okay,
But the
but not
Board
the
of
planning board.
Selectmen and the code enforcement officer don't have site plan authority. Only the planning board does. So how can the enforcement authority usurp that authority from the planning board?
No, it's, no, the
This is
planning
what I am.
board can
No,
determine
I can
what,
see that.
the planning board gets to determine what needs to be site planned in terms of generating a site plan review regulation.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, yes, when the planning board creates a site plan review regulation, they put in there what needs to be site plan review. At that
Doesn't say
point-
anything in there what needs to be said.
Yes, it does. It says all businesses and,
Thank you.
Commercial.
no,
businesses.
commercial and anything above a building with more than so like 2 dwelling units is the trigger. So at that point now, as it said, so the site plan and subdivision are accessories to the zoning ordinance. It says in Tilton zoning ordinance that the code enforcement officer is responsible for the enforcement of that. Okay, so if the code enforcement officer wrote a letter saying everything there is compliant now, all he needs to do is come in for site plan review for his new fitness center, then the planning board could either take that face value, or if you wanted to, you could say, I don't agree with that, and you could initiate an appeal of
I
his
disagree
administrative decision.
wholeheartedly.
All right.
Okay, yes, I was
We
just gonna
always
say
do.
that, get out of my mind, it's not a good place to be.
Well, I don't wanna be here all night, I don't think most of us do, and
Motion to
I
adjourn.
think Eric doesn't. Well, no, I think we need to go and
Wait,
review
that's not my
the
original.
three,
No, somebody
the
else.
three variances, okay?
Where's my original?
Where do we look for that on the planning board website?
Yeah, he's gonna give us the
That's
dates.
fine.
And then
If you
we'll
go
on.
into the,
We have the one that's not in there.
you have to go into the file for this case, and they'll be in there. They're in the drawers, but we shouldn't all have.
They're
access
actually
to
all
the
on
drawer.
top of the file cabinet right now, but they're right
We
there.
work all day long.
Alright. Okay,
Do we all
Entertain a
know what
motion to-
what the variances are that he's talking about?
That's why he's going, yeah.
that's why it's gonna get,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Get off.
I consider both like a challenge. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
It was actually, I we had an ACV, but it made the front page of anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
I didn't have to change anything back then. I'll email it.
Okay.
Get your breath too.
Huh?
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Nice, thanks.
So regarding that, will you be the subject of a non-public disclosure, is there supposed to be some type of notice given?
I don't know. It's not, yeah.
That's mine.
Well, someone doesn't like me.
That's not true. Well, not here anyway. It's, that's all printed.
Yeah, I know, just, I have it online, so.
Good night, Eric.
Right.
Hold on, I have it.
That was, we should all remember that, and remember that.
Hey, who you going home with tonight?
The chair.
If I'm gonna play tit for tat here,
Yeah.
I'd like you to go check, there's a concrete company on Route 3.
Yeah.
I think they're out of compliance with other regulated vehicles. I don't want to do that though, so no, I didn't say that, but no, Does Robert need a ride home? Hey,
I
Robert, you ready?
don't know.
I do, I know the last few meetings.
Yeah, I'll-
Yeah, I don't know. Where did he go?
Is Robert out there?
no, yeah.
I usually give him a ride home, that's why I asked.
Eric?
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, what we came up with this morning was the game plan he wants to, and that's,
That's what,
you know, I'm to start whenever, you know, whether it be tomorrow or the next day.
you tell me.
Yeah, that's
But,
what,
well, Wednesday morning,
yeah,
just let me know.
yeah, definitely. And,
The same one.
Mammy's my Mammy.
What, you can't lose.
Mammy.
I don't know who, Republican.
Oh, who your opponents are gonna be?
Mammy. I'm having white girl issues.
Well, I'm gonna send Bob, because I'm,
okay,
all right, I may come, but I'm not.
yeah, I don't blame you.
Like,
Yeah.
Don't mess with that.
having white girl issues, Mammy. 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 Mammy, I'm having white girl issues. Mammy.
You've been missing in my life, you knew that?
Oh shoot, is this thing still on? Oh, yep.
Hello.
It caught everything.